Hello and welcome to Politics Today, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga, helping you to catch up what's playing out both in the polity and in politics. And today, it's been literally like what you can call a day of defections. Now, some of the defections had actually happened before now, so they are just formalizing the process. Literally, let's say some of the things that are happening. So you remember when the news filtered in that a lot of people, literally the governor, the deputy, every structure of the People's Democratic Party in Delta State was moving to the APC. Started like a rumor. Then eventually it was actualized. And on a Monday, the governor was formally received by the vice president into the All Progressives Congress. At that meeting or at that event or that rally in Delta State, he said that when plenary resumes at both chambers of the National Assembly, what will happen is that the members of the federal House, or the federal lawmakers in this sense, will formally defect and nothing. Well, he said, I've been a principal officer. I'm like, this is a normal thing. Well, today, plenary resumed at both chambers, both the upper and the lower chambers. And true to their word, members of the People's Democratic Party in Delta State have now officially written to the Speaker, who has read it on the floor of the House, saying, okay, we've gotten information now that you're officially members of the All Progressives Congress, at least on the floor of the House. But that was not all that happened. Also, a member from in Enugu State from the Labour Party also defected from the Labour Party into the People's Democratic Party. So there has been this movement here and there. Some people have called it realignment. Some people have called it political promiscuity. All kinds of names have been tagged around the movement. Now, we're barely 2 years into this administration, and this is already happening. So you can imagine what will happen in the coming days. But besides all of that, while it was happening on the floor of the House of Reps, what you're seeing on your screen was happening in Edo State, where people were defecting as well from the PDP to the All Progressives Congress, led by the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly. And we had that crowd, because see, Adams Oshomole, the senator representing Edo North, the governor, members of the All Progressives Congress led by the chairman, as well as other people right there receiving the speaker and the rest members who are joining the party. So let's take a listen to what the governor said.
I was shocked. Tears came out of my eye when I saw a chairman buy Sienna and Hayas buses. To improve security in that local government. I called the chairman. I said, Chairman, I can't remember that for 8 years, a governor even bought this vehicle for security. Not to talk of chairman. Now chairman is now buying vehicle. If Asewaju was not releasing that money to me, and I'm not releasing it to them, can they buy it? You know, they started talking. They will talk, oh. They said people are suffering. But the money, the oil subsidy that 1 or 2 persons was pocketing, now Asewaju is throwing it to us to develop the grassroots. So, such a man, how are we going to pay him? Is it not to vote for him? Tomorrow they will say we are campaigning. Who is saying that PDP? I don't say there is no PDP. In fact, the remnant, the chivolet of PDP, you call them chivolet. I'm not the one that says so. They are evil divided. Some have Airport Road office. Some have GRA office. The third one, do they even have office? Do they have? Under the mango tree. So, 2027 is a done deal in Edo State.
Well, that's the governor of Edo State, Mondo Pueblo, receiving the members of the PDP who are joining the APC, led by the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, Mr. Blessing Agbebako. So he's saying there is no PDP, literally in that sense, in Edo State. So the politics is playing big time. And it's going to be part of our conversation today on the program. All of this defection, the politics that play out around all of this, as well as issues of national interest. But I did tell you as well that that was not all. That it was also happening on the floor, where people were now formalizing, literally handing letters, say, Speaker, we're now members of the APC. And it was happening across board. So Delta members who are PDP members joining the APC, as well as Enugu as well, from Labour Party joining the PDP. Let's take a listen to the Speaker. Okay, I thought we could get to hear the Speaker, but that's how things have been. So that is literally a day of defections. And more, I guess, I understand, is on its way across. But so we're here to help you, bring you up to speed. But that was not all that happened. Let's also tell you something that happened in the upper legislative chamber, which is the Senate, where in response to the rising incident of mob violence and killings, the Senate has now resolved to fast-track a proposed bill that will formally regulate vigilante outfits and hunting activities nationwide. The resolution follows a motion by Senator Samila Kawu, who decried the March 27 Uromi killings, where 16 travelers from the north were intercepted by a group of vigilantes accused of kidnapping and subsequently brutally murdered. It was a national incident. It was a very painful one in that particular situation. Well, speaking during plenary, the Senate President described the incident as a case of mistaken identity, which also showed the state of apprehension in the country, underscoring the need to put necessary legislation in place to avoid a reoccurrence. The Senate also called on the Senate Committees on National Security and Intelligence, Police Affairs and Human Rights to monitor the responses of government and security agencies to the incident and adopt appropriate legislative measures to regulate and professionalize the operations of community security outfits and vigilante groups across the country. All right, today on the program, we're going to talk a lot of politics as far as the nation is concerned, as well as the economy in between all of this. Because just to bring you up to speed, 6 days into the month of May, we are just a few more days, let's call it 2 weeks plus, before the 29th of May, which will be the second anniversary of all the persons that were inaugurated on 2 years ago when this dispensation started, led by the president himself. So we'll continue to take a look at their scorecard, how well or not well they are doing in every sector. But politics is one aspect that is very tricky, and we're going to look at it today on the program. But we'll bring you a political round of stories first.
The Senate has constituted no less than an 18-member committee chaired by Senate leader Senator Opeyemi Bamidele to oversee the functions of the sole administrator of Rivers State. The president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, made this announcement at the resumption of plenary, where he underscored the importance of the committee's role in ensuring accountability and transparency in the administration of Rivers State. He also hinted that the current constitution of the committee might be subject to review after further consultations. Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja has directed the prosecution in the ongoing trial of the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, to ensure all relevant documents and materials intended for trial are duly served on the defense team before being tendered in court. Justice Omotosho gave the directive shortly after prosecution witness 2 testified that Kanu was the operator of Radio Biafra, which operated illegally, and the founder of the Eastern Security Network, the armed wing of IPOB. Attempts by the prosecution to tender a letter authorizing the witnesses' investigation was resisted by the defense team, who objected on the grounds that the document was not front-loaded. This prompted the judge to rule that the defense was entitled to all the documents and materials the prosecution planned to rely on. The governor of Adamawa State, the Minister of Interior, has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to equity and fairness, noting that there is no place for religious or tribal bigotry in his government. He made this comment during the swearing-in of the vice chairman of Fufure local government area of the state, following the demise of the substantive chairman.
I would want you to use your status as a mother to ensure that you bring everybody together in that local government. You bring development, you bring peace, you bring unity.
The Senior Special Assistant to the Lagos State Governor on LSDPC matters, Mr. Darren Phillips, has declared his ambition to run for the local government chairmanship of Ikoyi, Obalende Local Council Development Area under the All Progressives Congress APC. Speaking during his declaration rally in the Obalende area of Lagos, Mr. Oshodi explained that he has learnt the rudiment of leadership for over 2 decades and is ready to engage the people through digital centers and employment, amongst other benefits. Lastly, the Parent Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa has called on the federal government to institute comprehensive reforms aimed at aligning security agencies with both international and national standards for the protection of human rights. The executive director of the group, Mr. Ezenwanwagu, stated these at an event in Abuja. He noted that Nigeria deserves a police force that is not only well-equipped, but also beyond reproach in its use of public funds, and also special reforms to enhance the capabilities of security forces in fulfilling their duty to secure citizens and the nation.
The police is not our police. They have colonial origin. But within that one, our resources is being used to fund the colonial police. Can we raise questions that can make them behave like Nigerian police of the Nigerian people?
All right, welcome back. Let's talk about what is playing out in the polity, especially in politics ahead of 2027. Now, 2027, for the records, is about 2 years from now. But the way politicians look at this thing is quite short. So right now, they are doing all they can. But what is very concerning is the speed with which people are just jumping ship, literally less than 2 years into the life of this administration. Is it because Bola Tinubu, the president, is doing well, or they are just trying to survive politically? What exactly is the intent here? We've asked questions about ideology. A lot of people don't see the difference between the APC or the PDP or the Labour Party. It looks like there will always be an exodus somehow, or mass migration, depending on which party is in power. So should we still be holding politicians accountable in terms of ideology? Or we ask them questions basically around their interests? That's a big question. But for the Nigerian people, you and I, our interest is about who will serve us better and what are the terms of our agreement when we give these people this job. So I'm being joined by 2 serving members of the National Assembly, one from the Senate and one from the House of Representatives. Joining us from the Senate is Senator Ismaila Kawu, representing Kano South Senatorial District, joining us from our Abuja studio. Distinguished, thank you so much for coming on the program. Also joining us virtually is the member representing Nnewi South, Nnewi North, Kusigo Federal Constituency in Anambra State, joining us virtually from Asaba. Honorable, thank you for coming on the program.
Good evening, Jeff, and thanks for having me.
All right. Senator Kawu, let me start with you. You are one of those that have, I was talking about people that are jumping ship or defecting or realigning. I think we got news about your defection from the NNPP this time to the APC. Correct me if I'm wrong. But one is curious to ask what exactly is going on, because Kano State, for instance, is the only state where you have the NNPC, the stronghold of the NNPC in that sense. And you are a top member of that political party. So maybe a lot of people were surprised that this is happening in your party as well.
Well, thank you. I think it is not something new. It is very usual. We have our reasons. And you know, we are practicing a constitutional democracy where you have the right to associate with the associating you choose two. One. Secondly, the nature of our political parties belong to mass political parties. It is not very much inclined with ideology. It is based on interest of your people, more especially to us who are elected into office for a term of 4 years to go and bring the dividend of democracy or the share of democracy to your people. You have to do everything possible to at least attend the needs and aspirations of your people. This is one. Then the second reason, as natural in political party, there must be a misunderstanding, misperception on the way thing is going on. Definitely there are some misunderstanding, mistrust among our rank, which later on we decide to join force with the APC for us to realize our all the interests of our people, no more, no less.
So, Senator Kawu, can we clearly state that your politics is not driven by ideology, you're purely driven by personal interest, and this is about political survival? That's one question. Question number two, because we watch this space and we know that...
Nobody says personal interest.
Just a moment, Senator. Just a moment, Senator. And the other part is that when we see these kind of movements, more like political lieutenants, it presupposes that maybe the governor will move. Maybe, let me allow you to answer the first question. I don't know how many of your people you consulted, because a lot of time when we speak to politicians, they say, after consulting with my people, I don't know how many people you consulted. So isn't this more about your interest and about survival in the polity than any other interest? Let's even throw ideology out of the window.
You need to understand which type of political party we are running. There are so many types of political parties. Our political parties of today are not ideological parties, belong to mass political parties. All the political parties are more interested in quality, number to win election, not particular ideology. It is not like where you have a party which stick on ideology. It is not started now. I can refer you back to First Republic, Second Republic, even the Third Republic. It is very usual. It is not our own interest, it is the interest of our people. Yes, the interest of our people drive my interest. Therefore, we arrive in a destination. You need to understand this. Nothing new. It is started during the First Republic. There is serious crisis in action group. If you go into history, we are all political science students. And even in the Second Republic, there are so many crises in the parties then. In UPN, there is crisis in Oyo between late Bola Ige and his deputy, SM Afolabi. And even in Ondo, there is crisis between the governor and his deputy. When you come to Kano, there is crisis between the governor and the leaders of the party, and even in Maiduguri, Borno State and Gongola. Therefore, it is very usual in the setting in this kind of arrangement where we are practicing or we formed a political party just to win election, not because of a particular ideology. And it is very common for all the students of democratic governance. They knew that there are different types of political parties. Therefore, our political parties, whether it is APC, PDP, NNPP, ABGA, it is all the same. The only difference is the personality, who and who are involved. All right. Therefore, you must move to where you think you will serve the interest of your people, more especially for us elected representative. I am elected representative of my people. I am there to protect the interest of my people. Therefore, there is clear difference between me and you as a journalist, me and a civil society member or activist. The intent of forming political party and contesting election is to win election and serve the interests of your people. And our decision is born out of that rhythm.
I'm going to come back to you, Senator. Let me go to Honorable Uzokwe. Honorable Uzokwe, you heard your colleague in the upper chamber talking about, like, we shouldn't even discuss the issue of ideology because it doesn't exist in our politics or in our polity in that sense. On one hand, I don't know whether you agree with that. I know you're still a member of the YPP. Maybe I'll ask you, how soon are you defecting as well? Because it looks like it's a season of defection to realign and align. So my question to you will be, it looks like the laws that limit or try to stop people from defecting is inconveniencing politicians. Perhaps we need to adjust the constitution so that since there's no difference between APC, PDP, we just allow you guys do your thing, move as you like, use these parties as SPV. When you're sure where you want to move to, you move. If you're sure winning election on the platform. So I want you to respond to what is said, as well as your concern, or if you have a concern about this mass defection in that sense.
Well, thank you, Jeff, and good evening, Nigeria. I don't want to dwell into what is happening and what is not happening. The defections, the reasons for the defections, ideological differences, if at all. Let me say this. We have been advocating for stronger institutions than stronger people. In Nigeria, we have stronger people than stronger institutions. You can see somebody somewhere in Edo State telling us, Mr. President, His Excellency Ahmed Tinubu is releasing money to them. He released to me as a governor, and I released to local government chairman. I see the money Mr. President is using is his personal money. Why can't you tell us that the federal government is releasing money as at when due, and I'm releasing it to you as a governor? These monies you are talking about is people's money. It is neither my money or your money. So I have a fear for this country. Every day if I wake up, I pray, God, set this country on a rightful path. I am part of the problem because I'm a politician. I will not distance myself from what is happening. Whether you are good, whether you are bad, we are all politicians. And we must work to salvage this country together and nothing more. Let me come in here. I digress because of what I watched happening in Edo State. And I saw distinguished Senator Adams Oshimori dancing as if nothing happened. But it is not normal. The abnormalities are glaring. It's smelling. What can one say? And seeing these things happening. Yeah, you asked me when soon am I defecting, because you know I'm for YPP. But I tell you what, the P2Bs of this world, the Bola Ahmed Tinubus of this world couldn't penetrate Anambra Senatorial District. Go and check your records. We have the House of Representatives, though I recovered my mandate from the court after 7 months. We have YPP Newi North House of Assembly member. We have Newi South YPP because there's one House of Assembly member. We have YPP House of Assembly Constituency 2, and we have Orumba North and South. Now let us come together. When somebody is doing something right, you have to commend that person, irrespective of the party affiliation. I am one person that believed in this tax bill when we debated it. I called for dialogue with my people. They voted that I should support the tax bill. It was open. I supported Mr. President when he is doing right. When he's getting it wrong, I will criticize him. Just like in Anambra State. Am I defecting to APC? Am I defecting to APGA? If I answer yes to all those questions, why should I defect to APC in Anambra State? Are they doing well in Anambra State? What are the projects they have executed in Anambra State that will make me to call my people and say, let us go this way? If I'm defecting to APGA, what am I going to tell my people? Is the governor doing well that will make me to defect? Affirmatively, I can say authoritatively that the governor of Anambra State as of today is doing very, very well, no matter the party you come from. Let the truth be told. If I want to play party politics, I will play party politics. But for the good of the people of Anambra State, the governor is doing very, very well.
Okay, Honorable.
And that is, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted you to land here, but let's just expand the conversation even further. Let me take it back to Senator Kao. I've asked this question. Maybe you can give me, and I'm happy you're being honest, Senator Kao, on this particular issue, talking about, look, it's mass movement. For you, there's no ideology in political parties, so we can take that from you as well. I remember you were also the one that helped us to know how much senators earn, and you were very blunt about it as well. I don't know whether you got flags for that. So I want to commend you for that. But what I want to find out from you, which is what I've asked a lot of politicians, and in my view, I haven't gotten anything that sounds satisfactory because it sounds more political than factual. They have always said that it's important to align with the center. So my question is, when you say you are aligning with the center, what difference does it make? Does it make your FAC allocation will not come to you as a governor? Does it mean that your IGR will now be collected from you or not be collected from you? If there are ministers to be appointed from your state, even though that minister is not from the governor, it's still going to be somebody from that state. If there are other people that will be appointed on in the MDAs in that sense, even if it doesn't come from the governor, for instance, it's still going to be persons from that state that the president or whoever is going to pick. So what exactly is this benefit that politicians always tout, that you've talked about the interest of your people that causes alignment in that sense, Senator Kao?
Well, I think it is very clear. You see, there is right and there is privilege. The statutory allocation of each and every state is right. They must have it. It is constitutional. Then there are some advantages which you can take to your people because you are close to the power. And it is everywhere. It is everywhere. Everywhere in the world, in democracy, it is very common. Even in the mature democracy like USA, like UK, you have an advantage when you align yourself with a government of the day. At least it is not like being in opposition. One. Secondly, the federal government or the government in power has so many programs and policy. Keying in that policy and program, definitely you will derive advantage to your people. That is on that privilege. But for the right, they must in any way give you your own right. I am not subscribed to the idea of the our Oga who spoke just now, the governor, who is commending Mr. President of getting their allocation monthly. That one, it is their constitutional right. Mr. President must in any way release that allocation to the state. Yes, you can commend him of doing his job. But the most important is that in each and every political setting, more especially in democracy, there are interface, there is logic, there is understanding, which you will go and take advantage of being friend to the government. There are more especially in the third countries like Nigeria, third world countries like Nigeria or Africa. Being in government, it will give you an advantage to take goodies to your people, which we are after. More especially we, the elected representative. People are blindly looking onto you that we are in short of water, we are looking for a way where we will have roads in our community. We want so thing. We want so thing. How can you do it? More especially as legislator. Align yourself with the government. Government has a lot on their own purview. My apprenticeship was a government of the day attracted so many advantages to my senatorial zone, in fact to the state. And now I have the opportunity to go and see Mr. President or anybody in the government with an open mind to interact and advise on how governance supposed to be.
All right.
There are so many advantages.
All right, Mr.
For example,
all right, Senator.
when you go to...
Just land on your thoughts because we're due for a break.
I can hear you.
I said land on your thoughts. We're due for a break. Just land on your thoughts so we can go for a break.
Okay. Therefore, for example, in a mature democracy or democracy like UK, where they have... if a party has a majority in the parliament, definitely they have the ministers and even the chairman of the committee will belong to the ruling party. Being a ruling party, you will derive advantages to your own area, or you will move your ideas and ideology, or your policies, or your program so easily, rather than to stick on the opposition, more especially in Nigeria, where all the political parties, all the political gladiators are the same. I will close my remark with one thing, which happened in 2023. Most of the people who supported Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2023 are now, some of them are opposing Asiwaju. If you ask them for what reason, they knew Asiwaju for over 25 years. Why are they supporting him on that very material time? And within short period of time, they stop the support. It is just because of their own selfish interest.
All right, Senator Kao. All right, Senator Kao.
Therefore, you cannot in any way, and I am not saying that because...
Senator Kao, my apologies. We're due for a break.
I am not saying because you have your own selfish interest is bad. No.
Yeah, we're going to continue in that trajectory. We'll due for a break. I also have Honorable Uzokwe, who is also going to weigh in on this. Because looking at the analogy that you've given, it looks like every time you lose an election as an opposition member, you should have to now realign yourself with the party in power to get the quote-unquote privileges, as you put it. But we're not done. We have a lot to discuss. The things that concern Nigerians beyond the realignment of politicians for their own interests, Nigerians want to see better governance in terms of economy, security, and even much more. That is what we want to wake up to, not necessarily which party you belong to. And those are the kind of questions I'll be posing to my guests, both of them member of the House of Reps and a senator, right on the program after this break. Join us again. Welcome back. We're still being joined by Senator Ismaila Kawu, who represent Kano South Senatorial District in Kano State, who was a member of the NNPP and now a member of the APC. Also, Mr. Peter Ozokwe, Honorable Peter Ozokwe, who is representing Nnewi South, Nnewi North, Ekusigo Federal Constituency in Anambra State. Honorable, let me start with you this time. And let's begin to assess the performance of the Bola Tinubu administration. So what I see that has been playing out, the people are saying that based on the twin policy, the popular ones are removing subsidy from FX and, of course, PMS that has brought us this astronomical high cost of living. Some people are saying the cost of living is killing the living, so the living may not be alive to enjoy whatever the president or the government is saying they're going to enjoy tomorrow. And it's going to be 2 years down the line. The president and his people are saying, hey, look, we needed to get some reset in that sense to put the Nigeria on the right trajectory. And we're beginning to see the benefit. They cite things like the revenue in terms of Naira that accrues to states that is record high. But with that still, we still see that some governors are struggling to pay the 70,000 plus minimum wage. So by your assessment, I want you to, as a member of the opposition, one moment to look at this president and tell us whether or not he's doing well. Mr. Uzokwe.
Yeah, thank you. I want to look at it in two perspectives. The problems. Did he inherit any problem while coming as the president of this great nation? The answer is yes. The other hand, that first day broadcast, subsidy is gone. Was it the right choice of words to use, sentence to use on its first day? The answer is no. For you to do such a thing, you have to sit down, look into the books, call people, seek opinions. Take it we are paying subsidy in the first place. An ordinary man walking down the street knew before now that subsidy is a fraud. Because our leaders told us that subsidy was a fraud. Now, coming to your question, was it right for Mr. President that first day broadcast and tell us subsidy is gone? With that statement, Nigeria went off momentarily on fire. You can see what is happening in the world across everywhere. Any statement from the president of any country, you will see the report immediately in their stock exchange. Any negative.
Oh dear, I really want to get the thoughts of Honorable Peter. Can you hear me, Honorable?
I can hear you.
Okay, for a moment, just land on your thoughts so we can throw in more questions.
What I'm saying was that our leaders should be very, very careful in choosing the action to take at every point in time. What they should know that people are looking up to them. They should not be deceiving the people. What I'm saying, if I want to score Mr. President, well, because it's not his own thought or that he inherited problems in this country, I will score him 52.
You score him how many?
I will score him 52.
52?
Yeah.
Okay, that's above average. Okay, let's take it to Senator Gale. Senator Gale, let me come to you. You are now a member of the All Progressives Congress, so you're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting in this sense. I know you're a new entrant in that space as far as the ruling party is concerned, so you got to take the big hits on the show today. There's nothing novel about government inheriting a crisis. I hear people say this thing. Literally every government that has come, whether from the national or the state level, they always complain about how bad things were. Nobody's underrating how bad things were. I am very familiar. I understand a bit of economics, so I'm familiar with where we were as a people and where we are now. So I'm familiar with the numbers. Now, but this is a challenge. When people complain about their reality, some of the handlers of the president or some of the people who speak for him, whether it's party lines or the presidency, seem to say, we are giving you the assurance that this is going to work. And the problem with that is that they are not the first person. President Bola Tinubu is not going to be the first person as a president to promise us that things are going to get better. Remember 2014, what brought in President Muhammadu Buhari? Change. And it was literally a cult followership. Where are we? What did he inherit after 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari? So there's nothing new about making promises. There's nothing new about inheriting a bad situation. It's how you handle it that's the big question. So the argument seems to be like, people feel like the government seems to railroad us to the point of saying, look, you must accept the fact that we need to stay hopeful. But Nigerians are not accepting it. They want things to improve because their lives are difficult. Is that impossible to understand? Or do you think the president should change his mode of conversation so that we understand where it's coming from?
Well, I think from my understanding, we need to do a lot. This is one of my reasons of joining a ruling party. It is not my intention to join the ruling party, but because of the quality and the action and the inaction of our political gladiators, I think the best way is just to join the ruling party, do your own best to drag some advantage to our people finish. From my understanding, there is need for us to put our hand on deck. Both the judiciary, the parliament, and of course the executive, civil society, and the remaining stakeholders. There are so many ways of doing things, but we close our eyes. We refuse to do so. We used to look into only what our leaders are doing. Yes, leaders are elected to lead us well. Therefore, they must find a way of providing a solution to our problem. But nobody can resolve or can take us out of our problem unless and until we identify the problem. I agree with some of your thoughts and some of the sort of my colleagues from Anambra. We need to do a lot. For example, fuel subsidy. When Mr. President removed the oil subsidy on that very day, yes, it is a policy of his party. The government of Muhammadu Buhari removed the fuel subsidy because it was not contained in the budget. The provision of the fuel subsidy, it is only from January to June. From that day, no fuel subsidy. What Mr. President or President Bola Ahmed Tinubu does is just to announce the removal of the fuel subsidy. Then what after? I want you to look into what state, federal, and local government are collecting after the removal of the fuel subsidy. It is almost times three. The last Buhari's allocation in May or June, it is not up to 700 billion. By now, it is almost 1.8 trillion. Therefore, the best way to handle this the situation is that after removing the fuel subsidy, we need to block leakages, stop wastages, and fight corruption to the stand still. If for any reason our leaders, our colleagues in the National Assembly, the executive, the judiciary, the other angles of the party are committed to block leakages, to stop wastages, to fight corruption, to reduce impunity to a minimal bearing, I assure you we will regain hope. It is only when there is hope, when people are hoping to get something good from the government, then Nigeria will start working well. But as I am speaking with you, there is very huge gap between the leaders and followers. What is the reason? It is not for the opposition, it is not for the ruling party. There is total vote of no confidence in between the political elites and the Nigerian people. The only way to regain that hope is for us to sit down and reflect and do the needful. Not President Buhari or not President Tinubu ahead. Quite all right.
All right, Senator, let me take it to me. Just a moment, Senator. Let me also bring in the Honorable to also speak on this particular matter. One of the things the government has started, as I've always mentioned, is the fact that there are more monies now going to the subnationals in trillions, in Naira terms, and that is a fact, that is correct. But how is it impacting the people? That's a big question. When some of them are still struggling to pay the minimum wage, insecurity is still prevalent. You can see that sometimes it's not the more money that solves the problem. So what exactly is the problem here? As I speak here, I have a friend who is in the custody of kidnappers, and he's not out yet, and they're asking for money. And it looks like everybody is incapacitated in that sense. So this more money as a gain, is it really a gain, or is it still money in the hands of politicians, or these politicians are not directing it to the things they are supposed to direct it to effectively build the lives of the people? Because that is what people are saying.
Let me speak to what you have said in the first place. More money in the system. Forget about whether it is in the hands of the politician. Economists define money as...
Oh dear. The network has not been quite friendly with Honorable Zokwe. Oh, Honorable Zokwe, are you back? So can you hear me now? Oh, yeah. I just wanted to...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Of what value is that money you have in your hands? Then, secondly, let me respectfully disagree with my colleague here that because the first subsidy provision was from January to June, nothing stopped Mr. President from bringing supplementary budget for that subsidy, if at all that we are using subsidy. We are lawmakers, we know our laws. You cannot tell me that Mr. President brought a remove fuel subsidy because there was no budgetary provision. Did anything stop you from bringing a supplementary budget, which you knew too well that it will be passed, so that Nigerians will suffer less? So let us deal with that and close it. We need a closure on fuel subsidy removal. It was wrong at that point. Overall, fuel subsidy must be removed. But at that point, it was ill-timed. People were not consulted. Professionals were not consulted before removing fuel subsidy. That is the truth. And yet, when you tell me that I scored Mr. President 52 above average, how can you send your kid to school to score 52, 52, 52? He's heading to top class. And Nigeria of today cannot offer you a meaningful job with top class. You can't even go to school to do your postgraduate courses without doing PGD with top class. So I want Mr. President, I wish him well. I want him to up his game. I want him to score between 65 and 70. I pray for him. I will support him because of Nigerians. I'm not playing politics with the lives of Nigerians, and I will never play it. I will support good program from Mr. President.
All right, let's take it to Mr. Kao. So begin to wind down. My apologies, Honorable Zokwe. Senator Kao, in closing, a quick one. Now, there has been divergent voices. In fact, I know somebody from the presidency or from the cabinet who said that some of the people who are opposed to the president's re-election from the north are overrating themselves in that sense, that if Muhammadu Buhari hasn't gone against the president, then every other person's opinion in that sense is not as strong as that of former President Muhammadu Buhari. So in your view, and from somebody who is a strong stakeholder from the north, from Kano State, how do you see the president performing in the next election, given all of this alignment and realignment? If you could answer that in 1 minute, and whether or not your governor will be defecting as well, just like you did a few weeks ago.
Well, let me give you a clear position of northern Nigeria. Nobody owns northern Nigeria politically. They can think, they can decide, they can take their own position at any given time. They vote Abiola, they vote Obasanjo, they vote Buhari, and now they vote Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2023. There is nothing new. Whoever undermines northern Nigeria, or the strength of northern Nigeria politically, I think he is pulling himself. Northern Nigeria has a number, and politics is a game of number, and if you have a number, you will get it on that side. Secondly, the politics, more especially election, is a game of negotiating, interface, talking, agreeing, disagreeing, putting all the variables on table to see what is my own benefit. I assure you, if Mr. President and APC put all their egg on the same table and start discussing with the people of northern Nigeria, what is your interest, what are we doing or are we going to do to you to vote for me? Definitely people will decide and vote for him. For example, I have my own challenges and problem from my own senatorial district. And I knew, by the grace of God, if Mr. President and federal government achieved what I proposed to them on that very senatorial district, definitely he will have it 2027. Because in terms of politics, northern Nigerians people knew what they are doing, and they can decide at whatever time. And they are not sentimental. You can say anything, But take it from me, Northerners are not sentimental. They used to take advantage of each and every situation when it comes. That is the reason why Northern Nigeria became a deciding factor. Forget those who are talking like this.
Okay, Senator, I must thank you. That's the much we can take. Senator Ismail Akau, representing Kano South Senatorial District from Kano State. Also, Honorable Peter Ozokwe, representing Newi South, Newi North, Epusiko Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives from Anambra State. Gentlemen, thank you for your time and for your insight. Thank you. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. Good night.